Glad to have you on the program Midday Discourse, coming your way live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. And of course, today we are joining the rest of the world to mark what has been described as unacceptable, the maltreatment of our sisters, our mothers, and women generally. 29 November has been set aside for a day to walk in love with our sisters, our mothers, and of course, the entire world of the women. And so on to this edition of the program, through the help of Action AIDS initiative right here in Nigeria, we are looking at the causes and perhaps to find a lasting solution where we can treat our sisters, our wife, as one. Midday Discourse on Global TV. My guest this afternoon is the manager of the Women Rights Program of Action Aid. I'm talking about Madam Miri Godit. She is on the studio and we'll be looking at the activities of the Action Aid, and so far they have been able to achieve this. Madam, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we go straight to issues that are concerning the abuse of women in the country. There's a long list of this and so many government agencies in ensuring that women are given their right place in the family. When we come back, we look at this and perhaps find a lasting solution to some of this ugly treatment of our sisters and women generally. Don't go away. This is Midday on Global TV, coming your way live and direct from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. Please stay with us. Glad to have you. If you're joining us, the program is Midday Discourse on Global TV, coming away from Nigeria's capital city. 29 November is a day set aside to celebrate and guide and protect the women folks in our families, our place of work. And today we are looking at the ugly incident where women are not given their rightful position in politics at home and maltreatment of women. And so to that end, we will be joined in the studio by the manager of the Women Rights Program of Action AIDS right here in Nigeria's capital city. I'm referring to Madam Miri Goyet, who is my guest in the program. Madam, welcome to the program once again.
Thank you.
Now, let's look at the abuses of women. How much do you think men have denied the women their rightful place?
Okay. So, violence against women and girls is a type of gender-based violence that has been ongoing for decades, for as long as the history of humanity is. Gender-based violence, has been that long. And gender-based violence is a global issue. It's not just an issue in Nigeria. And it stems from, the cultures and traditions and religious beliefs that society practices that disadvantage women, that disadvantage a particular sex and, empowers another sex above the other. So it's a power-based violence where women and girls, are disempowered by the society based on beliefs and long cultural practices, that now leads to the other gender, having that domineering, influence on the other gender that results in abuse. And we have different types of gender-based violence. We have the physical violence, we have the emotional and psychological violence, we have the harmful traditional practices, we have the socio-economic violence, we have also sexual violence. So the physical violence is the one that we know. We have domestic violence, we have the issue of girls being trafficked to another place, a woman being confined to a particular location by her spouse, or anything that has to inflict pain on the woman physically. We've also had cases of women being killed, murdered, by their male counterparts, by husbands, by boyfriends, or all sorts of things. And it's also important to note that gender-based violence happens to both women and men. But statistics and research has shown that majority of those who suffer gender-based violence are women, and this is because of the patriarchal nature of the society. Then we have the sexual violence that we all know, rape, and rape can happen both in the marriage and non-marriage, context. You have what we call marital rape as well, which a lot of women suffer. Some have even died of it, where a woman is continuously raped by her spouse, and it results in injury, bleeding, and some women have even lost their lives in the course of this. We also have the issue of emotional and psychological violence, and the interesting thing about emotional and psychological violence is that it's not something that is visible and physically seen, but more women die of emotional and psychological violence than even the physical violence, because it results in a lot of illnesses like heart problem. You have hypertension, you have women dying of stroke and different forms of things, so because of the long endured violence that the society has condoned, and she has had to live with it for a period of years that affects and breaks her down. Then we also have the socioeconomic violence, and this happens when a woman is denied privileges, right to ownership of properties, right to education, right to sexual and reproductive health rights, and all sorts of things. We also have harmful traditional practices. Harmful traditional practices are the specific type of gender-based violence that women go through because they are women. For instance, in some cultures, when a man dies, a woman is forced to prove her innocence. They believe that the wife could be the cause of the death, so she's forced to maybe drink the water used to wash the corpse of the man, or allowed to sleep in in a room. She's forced to sleep in a room with the dead body for a number of days, or her head is shaved. In some cultures, they will say she's not allowed to sleep on the bed for 1 year to prove that she is forced to wear black, or and in such cultures, women die too, but the men don't have to go through these, cultures to prove their innocence. We have female genital mutilation. We have, where a girl is being circumcised so that she does not become wayward. We have issues like breast ironing, like here in the Federal Capital Territory where ActionAid works. We had issues of girls, their breasts, when girls start developing breasts, the hot iron or stone is being used to press their breast down, because it is believed that when her breast starts coming out, she becomes attractive to the male gender, and it can result in her causing men to rape her. So these are harmful traditional practices that are practiced against women. And the United Nations has set aside from 25th of November to 10th of December, to commemorate 16 days of activism, where the issues of gender-based violence are being, amplified, where sensitization is done across the world, and the color for this commemoration is orange. So these days you'll be seeing a lot of people wearing orange. The orange color signifies campaign against gender-based violence across the world. And as you can see, I'm wearing orange today because I'm commemorating the 16 days of activism.
Midday Discourse right here on Global TV, taking a look at what the women have described, and of course what the society has totally condemned. It will be recalled in way back 1995 when all the women gathered in Belgian conference to find the pathway for the women, not found the lasting solution to women challenging in the society. I am also aware of what we call marriage enhancement class, which is a faith-owned organization helping to reposition. But let me come back to you. All what government has.
We have encountered and we continue to encounter in the fight against gender-based violence, irrespective of interventions put in by state and non-state actors like ActionAid and the government itself, is that the root causes of the issues have not, been completely addressed. Yes, we are making progress. Now the society is more aware of violence against women than it has been in the last 2 or 3 decades. However, the root causes of gender-based violence are still, the harmful sociocultural practices,
Some
our
of those,
beliefs.
yes, okay. Our belief in this part of the world.
Our beliefs and our practice, our cultural and religious beliefs and practices that promote the notion that a woman is secondary human, our beliefs, it's a patriarchy where, it's a society that believes that, men are a more privileged gender than women are. Men have the power to decision making, men have the power to opportunities, men have the power to enjoy their human rights, and women, are subjected, to support the empowerment of men. Let me give you an instance. In the Nigerian culture, right, it is expected that a man, is the head of the house. And in this context, if there's anyone that should be thriving career-wise and professionally, it should be the man. If there's anyone that should own resources, it should be the man. So in a context where a woman owns resources, the society itself begins not just frown at the woman, but also the man. They begin to call the man names, that the man is under pressure to show the wife that he is the head of the house and she is to be subjected to, he should make the decision and drive the ways. Yes, of course, he should participate in the decision. They should make the decisions together. But the society believes that it's a man's world. So if we don't address the root causes, so any time that the man perceives that he is not being placed in that position, it begins to affect. And it goes down to, mentalities of those who rape. They feel they have the right to this woman's body, whether she likes it or not. And that is why rape happens, because you see the man forcing himself on a woman, a girl, or a child. 3 months old baby being raped. Because why? The boy feels he has the right to enjoy whatever he feels, irrespective of the impact that is causing on this child. So these sociocultural practices and beliefs, and our religious pulpits have also been used to drive this, where some scriptures are quoted out of context, where they, they say that the woman is subjected to the man, women should not speak, women should learn in silence. We have seen a society where even scriptures that protect and promote women's rights are de-emphasized. And those one or two that were used to address a particular are overemphasized. And, being an actor in this sector, when you look at this discourse, those people that quote those scriptures don't even study the religious books. Some of them don't go to the mosques or church. They only have weaponized those verses of scriptures to use it to gain power and to keep oppressing women. So, despite all these efforts by government, if the society does not attack the root causes of, where we begin to see the female and the male child as humans, where we begin to see women's rights as human rights, the basic fundamental human rights, like the Nigerian Constitution states, right to freedom of movement, freedom of speech, right to freedom of ownership of property, just the basic fundamental human right is what the campaign for eliminating gender-based violence is all about, that women should enjoy their fundamental human rights.
Fundamental human right for women is part of the cry crowd that the women all over the world are crying, and a special period has been set aside. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at issues that has to do with policies of government. How has certain policies helped the fight against what we are talking about? It's Midday Discourse right here on Global TV from Nigeria's capital city. I have been talking to Niri Godyet, who is from the Action Aids, and she's not a happy woman this very moment, because she has a long list of what men and of course the society have imposed against their fellow human being. I'm talking about the women, folks. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at Glad to have you back on the program Midday, coming away live from Abuja, Nigeria. Global TV is the channel, and we are joining the rest of the world in celebrating or fighting against the violence against women. And I have the manager on women rights in the studio to tell us how far they have gone in this achievement. But first, let's look at the policies in the ground. Many argue that punishment for rape, punishment for certain things against the women is far, 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 far from what the women expect. Do you think certain policies like punishment for this is okay?
Okay, so the Nigerian government has made a lot of effort by domesticating international laws and policies around gender-based violence. One of those is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, which has different provisions around the different kinds of gender-based violence. It has provisions against rape, domestic violence, punishment for even socio-economic violence and all that. So, but, in the last 2 years since COVID, we have seen the work that the government has done in ensuring that these policies are passed across different states. Out of the 36 states, about 34 states have passed the Violence Against Person Prohibition Law, and these can be attributed to the work of, to the efforts of the government and contributions of the civil society organizations like ActionAid. Like ActionAid works to support 100 plus women's rights organizations across 6 states and FCT, and we have been funding and building capacity of these women's rights organizations, who have also been advocating, campaigning, and pushing for some of these policies. We also have the Child's Rights Act that helps also protect the girl child. We have seen partners work on different policies like gender policies for universities like University of Abuja, Nasarawa, University of Mina. Some of our partners, 100 Women Lobby Group, worked in that area, that the school should have these gender policies, which GBV policy is part of it. We have also seen partners work on policies for government and private secondary schools. So all these policies, some have seen the daylight, they've been passed, while some are still ongoing, still in the process. But what we have seen in Nigeria, the challenge is not lack of policies, it's the implementation of the policies. The political will to implement these policies, to see that the perpetrators of gender-based violence get the right punishment for this offense. Because when perpetrators are getting punished for these offenses, other potential perpetrators will see this, and it will reduce, some of these vices in the future. But where you have perpetrators of gender-based violence go scot-free, that's where you have this violence continue to repeat themselves. So despite the efforts, we want to see more efforts on implementation.
What type of punishment would you like for a case like rape? What type of punishment?
Punishment for rape, we have some states right now that, give life in prison, based on the degree of the offense, right? We have had judgment of like 10 years in prison. We've had, but we still have, some courts that are giving, very, the judgments are not as heavy as the offense itself. And this is because the society still has not understood the impact of rape on the woman or girl. For some women, rape completely destroys their lives. Besides, apart from the fact that it can affect their, their health, it affects them psychologically and emotionally, that some never or hardly recover from it. It affects the woman in such a way that some of them, they end up not wanting to have any relationship with a man. Some, it affects them, in a way that they become, especially young girls that are raped from when they are small, some of them become addicts, right? So the society does not understand how rape destroys the life of the woman or girl. That is why some of these judgments are being tampered with. But so far, we have seen an improvement based on the structures that we have also contributed to putting in place.
So far, there is improvement on the gender-based violence in the country. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will still look at this gender-based violence across humanity. Let's take a break for a commercial. Hopefully that one day the issue which has to do with gender-based violence will be totally wiped out to enable our sisters, our wives, and our mothers to have a free contribution to humanity and, of course, giving us the best. On the program this afternoon, Midday Discourse on Global TV, we are looking at the gender-based violence with women at the receiving end. But, Madam, there is the theory, or perhaps there's some group that some men also are being violated by women.
Sure.
Is your organization also frowning at this?
Yes, we frown at any form of gender-based violence. You know, we have men that have, that also go through gender-based violence. However, why we prioritize working with women, because research, data, evidence has shown that most of the victims or survivors of gender-based violence are women and girls. Men go through gender-based violence, but the incidences, against men cannot be compared to that that women have, have experienced. And like I said, it still boils down to our culture, the religion, the society.
The man seems to
empowers men more than women. So that is why women are more at the receiving end, or they are more, they make up most of the survivors of gender-based violence than men do.
Yeah, but do you think the women, in terms, for example, we talked about the violence in a marriage setting. Besides that, are there other steps that we should do to improve these issues, especially when a woman who is married to a man, and you said could be rape, because one of his primary to say could be mutual understanding. At what point is it considered rape for a married man and a married woman?
Okay, so rape is rape when there is no consent.
Okay.
Whether in or out of marriage, because it's supposed to be something that both parties agree, both parties enjoy. Sex in marriage is supposed to enhance the relationship, not destroy or, the relationship. So where, like in my definition for gender-based violence, anything that causes pain to a woman is gender-based violence.
At what point
So
should a
rape,
woman say no to the husband?
It depends, like, when she is not health-wise, when she is not in the mood, she's an adult, it's her body, she has the right to her body, God has given her the right to her body, he has the right to his body, so no adult, no human, even a child, rape, any sexual relationship with any, any girl less than 18 is rape, whether she gave consent to it or not. So in the case of an adult, consent is very important. When there is no consent, is rape in and out of marriage. We have had cases reported where some women looking, when it starts getting late into the night, it's a nightmare, because the husband treats the woman's body like that of an animal. Some women, go through a lot of this abuse for decades, and the society will not allow them live such abusive relationships. Some women bleed, some women go through, sexual and reproductive problems like, VVF, where they begin to leak urine and have issues of incontinence, as a result of, such marital rape. So where a human being is being subjected to pain, at the detriment, of another person, I feel that that should be something that is a human right issue beyond a marital issue. It's a human right issue.
Okay, let's look at how much contribution has your organization done to achieve this?
Okay, so ActionAid Nigeria has been working for decades on human rights, and women's rights are a core, aspect of ActionAid's work. At the moment, ActionAid has funded 53 organizations to carry out interventions on gender equality. Out of these 153 organizations, 64 of these women-led organizations have been responding to gender-based violence alone. And as a result of these interventions, they have reached about, they have been able to provide services to about 10,000 survivors of GBV in Bauchi, Kebbi, Kwara, Lagos, Cross River, Enugu, and the FCT. And we are still doing more. So we provide yearly funding, we provide rapid response funding, we also provide capacity building. And we have other projects. We are working with Global Affairs Canada, to run this project. It's called the Women's Voice and Leadership Nigeria Project. We also are working with Ford Foundation to work on sociocultural norms, working with traditional and religious leaders to tackle the issues of gender-based violence, because our cultures and traditions are the root causes. So we want traditional and religious leaders to begin to work with their communities to sit and discuss and say, no, we need to change some of these cultures. We have also worked with FCDO. We are doing a lot of work on the local rights program with women in the community, getting men to become champions of women's rights and also co-partners in this fight against gender-based violence.
Okay, getting the same men that you accuse, the same men are playing a vital role.
Yes.
Okay, today you are here in Abuja.
We're not accusing them.
Okay, the same men who are involved in this are the ones who are also playing vital role.
Yes.
I see that you brought together a group of people across the country.
Yes.
What's happening today?
Yeah, so today we're using the commemoration of 16 days of activism to showcase our work on gender-based violence, how ActionAid over the years has been working to reduce GBV in the communities at the state and national level. And our partners have been able to showcase how they have worked with other state actors. They have worked with police, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Women Affairs. They are working with communities to reduce and eliminate gender-based violence. And we're also calling for more investments from development partners, from government, from private sectors. We are calling from even the media. The media needs to increase its contribution. And we really want to say thank you to Global TV for recognizing, the importance of women and also, being a partner on this campaign against gender-based violence.
Global TV did not just only do that. We post all our programs to celebrate and join with the women to achieve the violence against the girl child. I want to say a very big thank you to Madam Niri Goyat, who is the manager of women program of the ActionAid, finding time to be with us on Global TV television right here in Nigeria's capital city. I want to say a very big thank you to you, madam.
Thank you.
And to let you know that the management of Global TV, we find this as our own social responsibility to partner with you. We look forward to a more robust relationship between the Global TV and the ActionAid.
Thank you very much.
That's the
Thank
size.
you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's the size of today's edition of the program, Midday Discourse on Global TV. It came your way live from Global TV right here in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. We are contributing to the development against the fight against the violence against the girl child. Until we come your way again for another interesting edition of the program, Midday Discourse, I want to say a very big thank you to you all for finding time to be part of us. And I am Clinton Agbo saying have a wonderful day ahead of you and stay out of violence that caused the women. Thank you.